Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about the Affliction League. The upcoming league starts in like 4 days. It's Monday, and today I want to give you guys my my personal feelings and thoughts about the league, the plans, and so on and so forth. So first of all, I think based on the trailer that we've seen, based on like the stuff that got announced so far, for me, it looks like a 9 out of 10 league. And why do I say 9 out of 10 and not like lower or even 10 out of 10? Well, basically, it happened way too often in the past that leaks seem to be insane when the trailer got live, when we saw the first gameplay, the possibilities. For example, let's say Metamorph, get your own monsters together and forge like super strong monsters with big loot. That sounded so insane. But what happened is like picking up all the organs by clicking on it. People will remember it got fixed quite fast, that they gonna get like auto soaked basically, right? But in the start it was not like that. It was so terrible. At some point, nobody really cared about Metamorph at all until they fixed it, right? We had other examples, like, for example, the Arch Nemesis with all this, stuff that you had to pick up, or even in a recent league, which was like the, what was it, Crucible League with the Forge, where it sounded so insane with, like, combining everything, and how did it turn out? Yeah, well, I mean, spending hundreds of divines with imprint beasts and so on and so forth to even get a perfect tree going, and with the uniques not being able to get an imprint and stuff like that, it was then more awkward to play, rather than how insane it could have been if GGG would have done a better job. But here, it doesn't. It looks like very straightforward with like going into this mist, clearing as much as you can, getting all these like 3 different sources of wisps or wasps or whatever it is, right? And juice up your map with like more quantity, more rarity, and like triple buff the bosses and stuff like that, or monsters in general for even more loot. Combining that with like magic finding and stuff like that, it looks like to be very, very insane. So I would say from the first glance, a solid 9 out of 10, because just thinking about the possibilities that we will have with the 3 new sub-ascendancies is actually crazy. Talking about the sub-ascendancies, well, I think the customizable one, I don't know which one the name was, like Primal something, I don't know. I think this is gonna be insane and probably used 95% of the time. I can see the other 2 getting used for like minion builds, or maybe like Reap or Exsanguinate, because there was like one skill point that was specifically targeting life cost for skills, extra physical damage and stuff that would play perfectly into the hands of like Reap and stuff, so that might be cool. But I think based on the charms or whatever this is called, that you can then place into the sockets of this like adjustable or customizable ascendancy, I think this will turn out to be the best pick for almost everybody. And I think you also get like the additional inventory slot, which just is quite insane. And that basically leaves me open with the big question that I get asked already like dozens of times, like, yo, MBX, what are you going to league start? Well, I do have a couple of builds in mind. There is not something specific yet, because there is still a bunch of question marks with hidden information or stuff that maybe get released in the upcoming days. Maybe while I'm recording this video, there's a new post which releases like the list of the kind of charms and modifiers that we can roll. But thinking about, hey, my first thought was like, yo, if I could do like a power charge stacking slayer, Badge of the Brotherhood, Masterful Form, converting all your power charges into equal amount of like max frenzy charges and max endurance charges, you could get builds like 14, 15 power charges on the Slayer, which is insane. But thinking about now this Wildwood Primalist, what if we get charms that have +1 power charge? For example, the Occultist have one, the power charge node with increased AoE and stuff like that. The Assassin has one. I think the Trickster has one. I think Inquisitor or something. There's a bunch of ascendancies that give you 1 max power charge. And now the question is, will these things will be like able to get the max power charge, or is this too strong? Some of the nodes might be just split it up, because you will not get like a full ascendancy, or like weaker ascendancies than the actual one, which is yeah, a clear thing, right? But if you think about +1 max power charge, you cannot really buff or nerf that, right? Because if +1 is the node, then you cannot have like half a power charge on the charm, for example. So the question is, will there be +1 power charges, or will it be like kind of like split it? I have no idea, and I think as long as we don't have the full information, nobody will know. But power charge stacking builds are among like the most expensive builds, so that's not really any kind of League starter style. But thinking about my favorite builds of all time, which are Ignite builds, which are mana builds, they are kind of forced into Elementalist because the Shaper of Flames. All damage with all damage can ignite, all hits ignite, and so on and so forth. Will there be a charm that allows that? You know, like a charm that says all damage can ignite, opens up every other ascendancy for a strong and crazy good, for example, Ignite build. So I did play a bunch of mana stackers in the past, and I think like for me personally, I like Sion the most. But for example, the Arc mana stacker that I played was an Elementalist just because the Shaper of Flame node. So if I can then get a Sion plus the customizable Sub-ascendancy with all hits can ignite, and then taking more Mind of a Matter stuff from the Hierophant, increased mana and stuff like that, regen from all kind of sources, that might end up being like one of the coolest builds that I probably have ever played, you know, like just in theory. And there might be many other things that you can consider that I'm currently not thinking about, you currently not thinking about, that will turn out like a month into League or something, what people come up with crazy stuff and crazy combinations, because as far as I know, these charms are stackable as well. So it's gonna be for like build creators and stuff. There's gonna be like 1,000 builds that you might want to play or not want to play or try out, and so on and so forth. And might be actually cool if you want to comment in the description below, or at least below the description below, what kind of like things do you have in your mind when you saw like all the new stuff? What kind of builds, maybe a League starter and so on. So for me, League starting wise, I'm thinking about, you know, maybe the Arc Ignite build that I played last league. It was on a 5-link, and I was like not having a hard time going into high tier maps, so that was actually way better, or turned out way better. It started as a meme build and turned out to be actually very strong on a very tight budget. So that one was not bad at all. Thinking about maybe a bow character. This is usually, I don't know what was the last time I started a bow character as a League starter. Tornado Shot looks juicy again. Going into Magic Find with all the Wisp quantity, rarity, and stuff like that, you know, and just make like a pure Magic Find character, as I played Casey's Tornado Shot Magic Finder last league and had a really good time farming those Crimson Temple maps. That might be a thing, or even going in a complete different direction. For example, like maybe good old Essence Drain, or something that I've seen on the patch notes, the rework of Penance Brand. And Penance Brand got like insane amounts of like base damage. The skill got changed, it loads up faster, now it jumps, it explodes faster. So that might be cool. They also like gave it like 10 times more base damage, on top of like changing the 40 damage effectiveness to a whopping 570% damage effectiveness. So combining that with something like Archmage or something like that might be actually really crazy. And at the moment, I'm thinking really about some Penance Brand shenanigans for my League starter, but this might turn out to be like a very bad idea, because most likely people are always going to choose a safe League starter that they can clear the Atlas with. I'm not really like that. I mean, you know, I just play what I'm up to, and if it's a good League starter, it's a good League starter. I clear everything, and if it's not, then I reroll. I don't personally mind. I don't need to be the first guy that kills Shaper. I don't need to be the first guy running Guardian maps and stuff like that. So for me, League start is always like a journey, and just trying out different things, and what works, what doesn't work. So I mean, it's gonna be like a late decision once we got more information, and probably on Friday, on the League start day, somewhere over the day, I will post my final decision for League starters, or maybe on Thursday or something like that. And we're gonna see. As you see here, Charm of the Hierophant, +1 minimum endurance, +1 maximum, or minimum, what is it, the other one, power charge or something. So they do work. We have seen that in the preview, as you just saw as well. So I do think that the +1 power charge ones will be there as well. But yeah, overall, I think I'm super hyped. I cannot wait for Friday to start into the league. It looks very good. It's like a mapping thingy. And on top of that, we get Ultimatum back, which is also pretty good, which is plays also heavily into favor of Ignite builds, because back in Ultimatum League, I think it was 3.14 or something, Fireburst Ignite was actually one of the meta builds. And the cool thing is, if you kill a monster with Ignite, and you do have Ignite Prolife and leaving those circles on the floor, monsters that spawn afterwards, which happens in several modes of the Ultimatum encounter, they just die afterwards because of the burning ground on the floor. So that gives it like super quality of life when you just kill a lot of monsters. Everything is full of flames. Monsters spawn, instantly die again. That was like so freaking good, and that's why Ignite builds are also good for Delhi, for example, or for any other content where there is monsters spawning like beyond, right? So yeah, it might be the good old Ignite. I mean, I'm known for my Ignite builds anyways, and I really love the Ignite playstyle with all the things that you can do. So yeah, we're gonna see maybe some Penance brand mana stacking Ignite Elementalist to start things off, or you know, I'm gonna make up my mind in the next couple days when I see more and more stuff. I still have not read through the patch notes. I will probably do this on a live stream, maybe tomorrow on Wednesday or something when I got time. So maybe I find some other cool things that might decide what league starter I'm gonna end up with. Right, guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.